If she finds out, it'll be a mess. Listen, sis is cunning, and once she gets angry, she holds a grudge. She's asleep. It's a real shame it's not you I'm marrying.
I was shocked by my husband's words. Because the one who came with us was my sister, Alice. Can't believe she even followed us on our honeymoon.
I slipped something into her cocktail at dinner, so she should be out for a while.
So that's why I have this headache. They plotted this together. I can't forgive this. Because, as Alice said, I'm cunning and hold on to grudges. I'm going to get back at them big time. My name is Madison Turner. Soon I'll become Madison Smith. Since I started working, I've loved my job every day, now at 30 years old. I thought I might never get married at this rate, but then, out of the blue, a proposal came. Introduced by my boss. It was a blind date with John Smith, 2 years my senior. He's the son of a CEO from one of the major companies we deal with, and everyone says he's going to take over someday. The moment my parents heard about the proposal, they were ecstatic. Normally they don't pay me much attention and rarely call. But when they heard this, they began calling and emailing almost every day. Due to their persistent nudges, one day I brought him home. My parents were overjoyed. But there was one face that didn't look pleased. My younger sister, Alice. Ever since we were kids, Alice wanted everything I had. Be it birthday gifts, clothes, and even boyfriends. I don't know Alice's type in men. But it seems she always finds the guys I date attractive and ends up taking them away without a second thought. This time, she dressed up in her best dress and makeup, beaming, she said. "Nice to meet you. I'm Alice, the younger sister." Oh no, not again, I thought. But this time, we were already engaged. It wouldn't be easy for her to take him away this time. I reassured myself of that. His parents, who had never seen him with a woman before, were thrilled to have me. We moved into an apartment they recommended shortly after registering our marriage. It was more than spacious for a young couple like us. We started our new life, and once we found a gap in our schedules, we planned to have our wedding and honeymoon back to back. The preparation wasn't too long. Still, the plans for the wedding turned out to be much grander than I'd imagined. But then, on the day of the reception. "What are you wearing?" "What? It's fine." "Right, John? It looks good on me, doesn't it?" Surprisingly, Alice wore a white dress. Wearing white to a wedding is considered rude to the bride. Yet, when John saw it, he said, It looks good on you. That flowy dress suits your petite frame. Right? See? Even John thinks so. Madison, isn't your dress a mix of yellow and pink? It's your favorite color, so what's the big deal?" "Yes, look at this corsage. Alice picked it out especially because it's your wedding." Their mom nodded in agreement. As if it was the most natural thing in the world. "Let's just keep smiling. It's a special occasion after all," she said. I wanted to shout, "Whose fault is this?" At the reception, Alice's white dress undoubtedly stood out. Among the guests from both sides, I noticed some glancing at her and whispering. And John's glances often shifted in her direction, which bothered me. That night, we stayed at the hotel where the ceremony was held. The next morning, we were set to fly to Hawaii for our honeymoon. We had booked a guided tour for a week there. The following morning, we hurried to the airport. On the way, I noticed John frequently checking his phone. But since we were pressed for time, I just assumed it was work-related. After a few hours of flying, we finally arrived. We managed to have the dinner we had booked at the hotel. "Well, we made it after all. Cheers." He clinked glasses with me. "Cheers. Oh, this cocktail is delicious. You like it?" "Very much." "Great. It's been hectic lately, so let's eat well and get some good rest." While enjoying the various dishes, I indulged in a few more of those cocktails. Then, oops. I accidentally splashed some sauce on my dress. "Oh no, I'll be right back." Hoping to clean it before it stained, I headed to the restroom. On my way, I thought I saw a familiar figure outside. Alice? No, that can't be. There's no way she'd follow us here. I convinced myself of that. When I returned from the restroom, the figure was gone. Must have been my imagination, I thought. "Sorry for the wait." "That's okay. Another cocktail arrived while you were gone." "Oh. Speaking of which, there was a differently colored one placed before me. I kept you waiting, sorry. It's fine. I didn't mention the Alice-like figure I saw to him. Back in our room, I was overwhelmed by fatigue. With a full belly, sleep quickly took over. Hey, you're going to bed already? Sorry. I'm just super tired. Well, that's fine. I'm gonna go check out the convenience store. Not bothering to reply, I quickly dove into the bed and fell into a deep sleep, almost unbelievably fast. I wonder how long I slept. I was awakened by the door being opened with force. It must be John coming back, so I tried to get up. However, a throbbing headache prevented me. It felt like a severe flu, so I decided to stay in bed. Just when I thought of going back to sleep.
Hey, are you sure it's okay? Yeah, it's fine.
Someone had entered the room with John. A woman.
Look, Sis is sleeping right there. If she finds out, it'll be a mess. She's very vindictive and holds grudges.
Wait, that voice calling someone sis? Alice? Ah, so it wasn't a mistake when I saw her earlier.
She's sound asleep. I slipped something into her dinner drink. She should be out for a while. Wow, John, you're wicked. Well then, let's do it. It's a real pity I'm not marrying you. Same here. So, let's get started on having a baby.
Following their voices, I heard the rustling of fabric falling. It's probably the effects of the drug causing my headache. Several times, my drink had been refilled. He must have added something to it when I left my seat. The anger towards the couple next to me grew. I can't forgive either of them. While hidden under the covers, I stealthily reached for my smartphone. Capturing video would be tough, but I made sure to record their voices, thinking of the future. If I showed any sign of waking up, the ever-alert Alice would surely run away. Eventually, the two, seemingly satisfied, descended from the bed and headed to the bathroom. I seized the opportunity to photograph the messy bed and their scattered clothes, then dove back under the covers. Soon, they returned and started to put on their discarded clothes. It seemed pretty quick.
Hey, what's the plan for today? I wanted to spend more time in the bath. Well, as Madison said, it's a guided tour package. If we don't stick to the schedule, we won't get to visit all the attractions. Wait, does that mean the guide will think I'm the bride today? That's exciting. Yeah, that's right, Alice.
Today's plans. We were supposed to take a cab from the morning and visit various tourist spots. If so, he'd be returning in the evening for sure. I believe watching the sunset at the beach was also in the itinerary. Given that, I had been pretending to sleep, staying still under the blankets until John and Alice left. The moment I heard the door close, I sprang up. The headache had subsided while I was astonished at their messy behaviors. The light streaming through the window showed it was still morning. Thinking it's the best time, I booked the earliest flight to JFK on my smartphone. The suitcase, which I had just opened without unpacking. I closed it again. Then, out of the blue, John's passport on the table caught my eye. I smirked and tucked it into my handbag. Somehow, I managed to catch a flight in the early afternoon and arrived at JFK. Upon checking my phone, there was an alarming number of missed calls and text messages. Reluctantly, I decided to return one of the calls. "Where the heck are you?" John's voice was so loud that I involuntarily pulled the phone away from my ear. "Hey! I noticed our luggage was missing and guess what? You checked out alone. What were you thinking?" "Oh, sorry about that. I'm at JFK now." "You're at JFK?" I remembered I had some urgent business to attend to. "You're still over there, right?" "Of course. I've got a week-long tour. I'll enjoy it even on my own." "Alone, huh? Well, enjoy your time then." I hung up after saying that. What to do next? The week went by in the blink of an eye. Just when I thought it was about time, a deluge of calls hit my phone again. I ignored them at first, but after a while, I picked up. "Hello? Hey, Madison. You don't happen to know where my passport is, do you?" "Your passport? What are you talking about?" "I can't seem to remember where I placed it." "Why would I know? Try remembering where you kept it on the first day. If you can't find it, just get a replacement." "What do you mean? Are you sure you don't know where it is?" "Why would I?" John was stumped. Well, in reality, I was the one who took it. But when asked directly, it's not something you can easily admit to. I didn't lie, though. Just get a replacement or whatever. You'll be able to come back. A replacement it is. All right, I'll get on it. I didn't have time to chat. I was really busy at that moment. If he had opted to get a travel document instead of a passport replacement, he'd probably be back sooner. But there was plenty to be done before that. And then, just over 10 days later, I finally got a message from John saying he had his passport reissued and was back. I easily guessed that Alice must have held him back. I wondered what Alice had told her family, so I called her family home. However, her parents were flustered and vague. And on the day they were supposed to return, waiting at home, I heard the sound of keys fumbling at the door. I also overheard a conversation. Hey, is it okay? Entering your place like this? It's fine, she's a workaholic. She's probably engrossed in work even now. Wait, what's with these shoes? A myriad of shoes was lined up in the entryway. There was an unbelievable number of shoes for just two people living together, and John's voice was trembling with distress. And then, welcome home. I greeted them warmly. Madison, I thought you were working today. Sis. I didn't say I was working. I did say I had something to do. I knew you two would come home together. I was waiting. Come on. Exactly. Come inside already. Dad, and even Mom. Next out were the in-laws. Alice glanced at the large pile of shoes in surprise. Sis, don't tell me. Yes, that's right. Our parents are both here. Saying that, I led them to the living room where everyone was gathered. What's with all these people? And it wasn't just both sets of parents. Manager? You've been missing from work without notice, Alice. John, why didn't you request an extension for your vacation? Well... Both John and Alice's immediate bosses were present. I was shocked to hear. Neither of you notified the company. Oh, my phone broke. Yeah, he dropped it in the ocean. Really? How'd you know? Were you at the beach together? I smiled cheekily at the two. Hey, Madison. What's with that tone? Sounding suspicious of your own sister from the get-go? Not sounding suspicious, I am suspicious. In fact, I'm here to clear things up. Right? Yes. A person holding documents introduced themselves as a lawyer, handing out business cards to John, Alice, and their parents. A lawyer? What for? We have two requests. One from Madison regarding a divorce. The other is from Mr. Smith about renouncing John's inheritance. What? Renounce inheritance? John's eyes darted between the lawyer, me, and the in-laws. Alice suddenly asked with urgency. Wait a minute, lawyer. By renouncing inheritance, you mean John can't become the CEO? CEO? The father-in-law laughed heartily and motioned for both to sit down. Then said exasperatedly. Not just CEO, we're gonna kick him out of the headquarters altogether. Don't you get it? Spoiled and clueless lady. Why would you do that? It's obvious, isn't it? Using his newlywed wife's sudden emergency as an excuse, he goes on a trip with her sister. If someone who carelessly, and so openly, does something this outrageous becomes the company's top executive, what happens to the company and its employees? Wait, isn't the CEO's job just to sit there? Geez. Are you that dumb? Are you really Madison's sister? What did you just call me? Dumb? Dad. Mom. Excuse me, Mr. Smith, don't you think that's a bit much? Huh? You're defending Alice, the girl who's trying to steal your sister Madison's husband? Well, isn't John a bit out of Madison's league? These two seem to be into each other. Maybe Alice and Madison could switch. Bang. The father-in-law slammed the table hard. I see. This thoughtless girl must have been influenced by parents like you two. Meanwhile, the mother-in-law motioned for me to come closer. What's the big deal? It's unfair that only Madison gets all the good suitors. That's why I flirted with John. Sure, he's a bit older, but I wanted to be a CEO's wife. Older, you say? John was in shock. You think you could become a CEO's wife? Why'd you think that? There was no guarantee that John would become a CEO in the first place. But John said so. Being a CEO is just for show, just being there makes things move around you. I can't trust the company to someone who says things like that. It was only because Madison, a strong woman, was by his side. But leaving Madison aside, I was mistaken. The father-in-law signaled to me. At that moment, I played the recording of their conversation. Shocked, their eyes widened. You were awake? Tell me, what did you put in my cocktail? When I woke up, my head was pounding. Eye drops. Read it in a novel. Unbelievable. The father-in-law sighed deeply. Dad, what are you gonna do with me? I'd love to completely cut ties with someone like you. But if I do, I'm afraid you might tarnish our company's reputation. Go work at our branch office in Texas. No way. John turned desperately to Alice. Alice, you'll come with me, right? What? Why would I? You said you were the heir to the CEO. I thought Madison was wasting her chance. I don't need you. I'm giving you back to Madison. It's not like I want him back. At that moment, I put forward the divorce papers I'd already signed. What's this? There's no way I'll sign this. At the very least, we approve, said the father-in-law. Dad. Really, John? After marrying Madison, I thought you'd straighten out. What were you thinking? I couldn't help it. Alice was the one who seduced me. You, seriously? Why didn't you just say no? The mother-in-law snapped at her son. I'm truly sorry, Madison. Because of this idiot, you now have a divorce on your record. It's all right, a good lesson learned. I guess I'm better off focusing on my career. Madison, are you gonna leave me? Leave you? I scoffed. You're the one who easily fell for Alice's advances, right? She's always wanted and taken everything that was mine. I certainly don't want any hand-me-downs. You don't have to be so harsh, Madison. Besides, I raised my voice towards my parents. I no longer wish to associate with you all. And regarding this matter, I've suffered emotional stress from Alice, so I'm demanding compensation. You say that to your own parents? I'm just reclaiming what has been siphoned off to Alice over the years. That's how I'll sever ties with you. I stated this firmly. I can be very vindictive, and I tend to hold grudges. Right, Alice? You said so, didn't you? Soon after, John was transferred from the headquarters to a remote field office. He even had to adopt his mother's last name. The commitment was total. His salary was significantly reduced from before. Moreover, from that reduced pay, my compensation was being deducted, as his parents explained to me. The place he was posted to was not one where you could take breaks and head to a nearby cafe. Once you step out of the office, all you see is a dreary industrial area. If you think of having coffee outside, there's only a vending machine. Oh, John dear, if you want coffee, we can make some for you. The office clerks, older ladies, said with a stretchy smile. There hadn't been any young people in that office, regardless of gender. So, seeing a man in his 30s like John was a novelty to them, and they seemed to enjoy having him around. On the other hand, the field workers were always yelling at him, "What's this instruction? The numbers are wrong. Hey, when are you placing the order for materials? It won't be on time," and the like. Every day, John would send texts to his parents, lamenting about being yelled at. He would also texted me things like, "Please, forgive me, it was a lapse of judgment, ask our parents to intervene, I can't give up on you yet," and other such nonsense. For some reason, he never called directly. He probably didn't want to be countered directly. Meanwhile, Alice lost her job. She had spent too much time overseas with John. And the reason for her firing was quite significant. She couldn't find another job and stayed at home, berating her parents almost every day, asking, "Why didn't you stop me?" She directed her anger at me too. "Why are you doing this to me, your own sister? I saw through him, didn't I? You should be thanking me. So forget about the compensation." My parents, on their part, began leaving me voicemails and emails, saying things like, "Please, can you reduce the compensation for Alice? Come on, you're her big sis, right? Why are you so stubborn? With that attitude, you'll never get married again." And so on. Of course, I kept all their texts and voicemails. I used them as evidence and got a restraining order through my lawyer. I felt incredibly relieved. Shortly after, I transferred to a company managed by John's father. Not the main office where John worked, but a newly established branch. Madison, I've always believed in your passion for your work. I want you to utilize your talent as a starting member of the branch, said my ex-father-in-law. My ex-father-in-law said that, recognizing my work talent and placing me in an important position. Apparently, my previous company didn't seem to fully utilize my abilities. Thanks to him, my days are busy but immensely fulfilling. On days off, I enjoy delicious home-cooked meals made by my ex-mother-in-law. Even if you've cut ties with John, I'd like you to remain our daughter. I always wanted a daughter, you know. Madison, how about becoming our adopted daughter? Considering my biological parents always favored my sister and barely noticed me. Hearing these words from my ex-mother-in-law is truly heartwarming. I'm not sure if I'll go through with it, but at least for now, I believe my days will be brighter.